and welcome to the Tom Myers versus the Rest of the World Convention Recap Special. This year, the designers of the Republican National Convention's website accidentally put an image of Ho Chi Minh City instead of Milwaukee, where the convention was held. It's appropriate considering Donald Trump wouldn't necessarily mind having his convention in the same country where John McCain was tortured.
God.
Trump, of course, trashed Milwaukee after it was revealed that it would be the site of his party's convention. Talk about being tone deaf. At least comics wait until after they leave the venue where they performed before they talk shit on social media. It was at the Republican convention where Trump chose Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. To me, J.D. Vance looks like his only qualification is that he looks like Don Jr., but there's a campaign sign with his name on it so that Trump can remember it. J.D. Vance looks like he could pose for the Uncle Sam poster, except instead of asking you to join the military, he would invite you to join his deportation force. Former British Prime Minister Liz Truss attended the Republican convention. That's very appropriate, considering that a head tilt the previous weekend kept Donald Trump's head from turning into molding lettuce. I'm going to catch some shit for that one.
Oh, yeah.
The convention, having taken place only days after Trump was shot, he was seen wearing a bandage on his ear. I think it would have made a more celebratory event if he ripped off the bandage and soaked the attendees like Mr. Splash at a Baltimore Orioles game. While we will be referencing the Democratic convention at some points in this episode is only supposed to run 30 minutes. 45 if I'm too lazy to do a full editing session, and we only have so much time. Indeed, I like to try and write some jokes about the third-party conventions, but it's just not feasible. I can't do any jokes about the Green Party and Jill Stein, as my target audience doesn't speak Russian. I know that joke will piss off a lot of third-party voters who listen to this show, which is why I told it. And now, on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Joshua Postel, and Tiffany Norton.
Yay.
Tom.
Everybody, welcome to the show. So, what's everyone's thoughts been on this year's wonderful, wonderful, and uneventful convention season?
Well, I mean, I thought the DNC was an eventful. The RNC, though, was pretty much half of it was a grievance party. so I grew tired of that.
The RNC is basically just oppression Olympics for basic bitches, but in stereo, and you're just like, what?
It was nice to see the ear fashion, though. I had no idea.
Oh, that was the saddest thing ever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If there was this. Oh God, there was this stuffed animal that I saw years ago that had the thing in the ear. I forget what it was, and I'm just like, it came to life. It came to life with these creeps.
They did one shot of like a row with 5 or 6 people next to each other, all of them with their bandage on, and I was thinking, is this a new ad for Dre's new headphones? Is that what this is?
It's not Beats. It's just
Beats by Dre.
I guess I do some digital design, and I noticed that they didn't have any actual footage of joyful children with flags. They used that. That's all standard footage out of Canva. Mm-hmm. If you upgrade to $16.99, you too can do a backdrop just like the RNC. I've used the videos before. I'm like, I know that little girl with the flag. I've seen her, and I went back in. Yep. Well, they don't have actual footage of joyful people.
Well, that's because all the money from the budget is just going to pay his legal bills.
Well, he couldn't also get all the releases signed. I don't think that many parents are that cool with him just doing whatever with footage of the children. But
not with the children.
Does he really care? He has a cease and desist letter, I think, served to him every other day.
That's true.
Pretty much.
He hands out candy and NDAs.
Opening this year's Republican convention was Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. who provided all of the energy of Ben Carson after doing several lines of cocaine. Being recently thrust onto the public arena, Mike Johnson has no idea that being neutered by technology on live national television is even a possibility, as we can see in this clip when he attempts to read a teleprompter.
It is now my honor to introduce the Attorney General, and there goes the teleprompter.
You're second in line for the most powerful job in the world, and even like the teleprompter falls asleep when you're talking.
Just couldn't listen anymore.
So was it that he didn't know the name of the gentleman coming up, or
That was my thought. That was what.
It's like, oh, what's the guy's name again? The teleprompter went out.
Attorney General? Who?
It's called This Is What Happens When We're Trying to Run This on a Shoestring Budget That Would Make a Comedian Cringe.
Yeah, Johnson. With a last name like that, you might think he'd be a little more, I don't know, masculine. He just looks like a snitch. It's those glasses.
The contrasts between the Republican and Democratic conventions this year went beyond ideology. While the Republicans went for the more stoic and traditional convention of years past, the Democrats have been keen to incorporate modern culture to attract young voters. No greater example is a look at how the Republicans and Democrats each pledged their delegates than the state of Georgia.
Georgia. 59 delegates.
Madam Secretary, I'm Josh McCoon, Chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. Georgia, the Empire State of the South. Georgia, the #1 state to do business in the United States of America. On November 5th, the Peach State will send 16 electoral votes for the once and future President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And today, we proudly cast all 59 votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Georgia, 59 votes, President Trump. Utah, 40 delegates.
Georgia, how do you cast your votes?
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Bob, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what? Turn out for what? Hey, turn out for what? Yeah! Turn out for what? Let's go, let's go! Turn out for what? Hey, everybody get your hands up! Hey, everybody get your hands up! Hey, everybody get your hands up! Now, say, we're not going back! We're not going back! We're not going back! We're not going back! VP Harris! Coming to wall! VP Harris! Giving the wall! Hey!
Mr. Secretary, the South got something to say. I'm Congresswoman Nikema Williams, Chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Georgia. Georgia, the home of President Jimmy Carter, the cradle of the Civil Rights Movement, where we fight for our freedom. Extremists in Georgia are trying to silence our voices by kicking Georgians off of the rolls and making it harder to vote. But y'all, when we send Kamala Harris to the White House, she'll fight for our freedom to vote, our reproductive freedoms, and our freedom to thrive. In the spirit of good trouble, Georgia cast 123 votes for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I mean, Little John basically just made that lady at the Republican convention sound like she was on her last dying breath.
Well, it's what happens when you don't have any black people at your convention.
It's what happens when everybody. It's what happens when everybody at your convention is just older than fossils, and they still think that cars with fins are a thing.
No one in your party can carry a beat. That's what a convention looks like at the RNC. It's like that's it.
When everybody at your convention looks like they use arthritis cream.
And I'm not too far from that.
Any attempt looks like a horrible version of the robot.
I thought it was great they incorporated Little John, but I was questioning how much they were going to actually play of Get Low. Because that song has some pretty interesting lyrics.
Spicy lyrics, yes.
Very spicy, but
heavily edited. They have to heavily edit this.
Yes,
no, they were running the karaoke version without.
Yeah, they did the instrumental. They had to. There was no way. You can't play that. You can't play that like that, you know. But for me, it's trippy because I'm from Minnesota, and seeing the huge Walls heads. Governor Walls. That was strange. The first time.
I know, like imagine being a rural public school teacher, and like you never imagined that in a matter of years, people are going to be waving giant cardboard heads while a rapper's singing about you. I mean, that's
and he.
Hey, let a man dream. Let a man dream.
We should all do that. Let's all get big heads of ourselves.
That's right.
Can I get a tattoo of Walls? That'd be really creep him out.
And I've met him. I went to Mankato State, so he wasn't my teacher. Yeah. He was a high school teacher, but so I used to live where he was teaching in that, and it was a huge coup for him to win in that area as a Democrat. So yeah, he's a cool dude though.
I don't recommend looking up J.D. Vance or any of his speeches or interviews. Suffice it to say that J.D. Vance is the demon that would pop up if you summoned him over a packet of fine-cut skull. If it gets bad for J.D. Vance, he may simply score fentanyl patches and mix them in his Diet Mountain Dew like a Mio packet. Of course, he's such an asshole that a drug dealer would look at him and go, "Fuck off, you don't need any of this shit." There is a rumor about J.D. Vance's activities with a couch, and while we have to say for the record, Snopes and the Associated Press have disproven that anecdote, I, for one, heard about the latex glove and the couch and thought, he's my age, so yeah, that's actually par for the course. In the meantime, he also knows how to wax nostalgic about his beloved relatives, as this excerpt from his convention speech demonstrates.
Now, I was lucky. Despite the closing factories and the growing addiction in towns like mine, in my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails. I called her Mamaw, the name we hillbillies gave to our grandmothers. Mamaw raised me as my mother struggled with addiction. Mamaw was in so many ways a woman of contradiction. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word. I'm not kidding. She could make a sailor blush. Now, she once told me, when she found out that I was spending too much time with a local kid who was known for dealing drugs, that if I ever hung out with that kid again, she would run him over with her car. That's true. And she said, JD, no one will ever find out about it.
Because we all have that one relative, you know, who threatens vehicular homicides, and we hang out with that one kid who's just not right in the head.
That's the that is a snapshot of the Republican Party, you know. Save an unborn child, but if they're old enough to walk, you can run them over. That's it.
I don't know if you caught it, but right after he said he called his grandmother Mama, which is what we hillbillies call her. You could see the two guys in the front going, we don't call them Mama.
That's right.
What's he talking about? That just shows.
And we're hillbillies. We're hillbillies. So we don't call them Mama.
That's redneck talk.
That's right.
That's called, not hillbillies.
Real redneck talk, and that whole thing where she was threatening to run the guy over with the car.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm from New York. The old school mafia used to be a little more terrifying than that. But at least they did it with flair, you know, panache.
Right.
You know, it was usually broken legs. You got dumped in a meat grinder, dumped out by Kennedy Airport.
Josh, you got to admit, though, I mean, you can't really run anybody over with a car in New York. Traffic is just hell. I mean, you could never get up. You could never get up enough speed.
Trust me, I've seen you could run people over with a car in this town. But that's just. But you know, here that's just called Road Rage Tuesday.
And most of the time, it's done at like 4 miles an hour at a crosswalk.
That's
but
right.
you know, it's still running someone over.
Right.
Yeah.
I think probably most attempts at murder at running somebody over in New York, they don't work out because suddenly somebody says, "Oh look, a spot opened up. Let's park the car. Forget that. We'll shoot the guy."
There was something where somebody like tried to run somebody over by slamming their car into another car on the Upper East Side.
Now, I will say that the one thing they have in common is discretion when it comes to the Republicans, right? We're all supposed to hide everything that they're doing. So even Meemaw got it right. Discreet.
Well, and here's the thing. Grandma was a terrible mother. That's why his mother was messed up. Like, why is she the example and your mom's not? Your mom was a nurse. You know, your mom was educated. She got addicted to drugs after an injury, right? Like, and like, you know, started taking them because she had access to them because she was a nurse. Mm-hmm. It's like, you raised her, and then everybody's throwing mom under the bus. Mom's been sober for 10 years, and they wheel her out like, see, there she is. She's a real piece of shit. Thank God for grandma. Grandma takes care of business. She just runs over the enemies in the family. I mean,
that's the beauty of that whole thing.
Either way, what's that?
They're not even trying to hide that they're low rent pieces of shit anymore.
One of the speakers the Republicans brought on to address the young undecided voters was former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who, if you want to remember who he is, has the potential to be very knowledgeable for a run for president in 2028, according to O.J. Simpson. And yes, we played that video on a previous episode of this podcast. Here he is, trying to relate to young undecided voters in his convention speech.
And our message to Gen Z is this: you're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American.
I'm not sure I'd want to take advice from a rebel for someone who looks like in school was awarded most likely to be given a wedgie during a board meeting.
I think the couch story is true about him.
That's right. It's weird because a lot of Republicans did this whole thing of they're the courageous party, you know, that these liberals, are always afraid of everything. But it's like they're the ones that are like, oh, crime is it's crazy. Crime has been dropping since 1993 with a couple upticks during the pandemic. Millions of immigrants are crossing the border and taking all our jobs. It's like, yeah, well then why is unemployment down? It's like
and why are you marrying them? If you're worried about immigrants, why are you marrying them?
Yeah. They're just afraid of everything, even though the numbers tell them that that's not real. They just watch Fox, and whatever Fox tells them, they believe it.
I'm having a hard time understanding why they're so like, oh, you're afraid to go out and say you're a conservative American.
Right.
What about Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans? How afraid do you think they feel when they walk outside their door every day?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. We're afraid to say that we're conservative Americans unless we're on the news.
Yeah.
or out in the public, or on a street corner anywhere. It's like
it's called
bullshit. Is what it's called.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Well, I'm even trying to figure out how where to start with that, because it's just like
Right.
everyone hates me.
I'm afraid for people who see that I'm conservative. That's
There's
why
a
I carry
reason
two
everyone
Glocks.
hates you. There's a reason everyone hates you. Because you're going after everyone else, and everyone's like, yeah, of course we don't like you.
I was just going to say, it depends on what college you're going to, too. If you're going to Berkeley and you're a conservative, okay, maybe I'll give that to you, right? But if you're going to, I don't know, what's one of those big Bible colleges?
Liberty University.
Liberty, right.
University.
Liberty, yeah.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of pushback. I don't think there's going to be a lot of hippies and patchouli girls passing you clothes, cigarettes.
Yeah, there's certainly not going to be a lot
about women's health care.
There's not going to be a lot of Muslims, and as a Jew, I got to be honest, there's not going to be a lot of Jewish kids there either. So you're safe.
Yeah.
We're space Cheeto Jesus.
That's right.
And
community college.
And the law professors at Liberty, like one of their classes, like, all right, class, today we're going to go ahead and learn how to argue a case when opposing counsel is gay. Like that's their. Also,
Probably.
I happen to live in I live in a county that voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. I've never met anyone who's been afraid to say they're conservative. Like,
right.
what the fuck are these people talking about?
I was so afraid I had to unholster my gun. It was terrible.
These people are afraid of what? Go to Staten Island.
Yeah. Yeah, they're scaring all these small town people, making it seem like it's gonna seem crime as large communities. It's like,
Right.
oh, okay. No, you're fine. You're fine, Waterloo, Iowa. I think you're gonna be all right.
Donald Trump can be compared to another president who used persuasive tactics to get what they wanted, Lyndon Johnson. However, while Johnson's strong-arm tactics got us Medicare, Medicaid, the Voting Rights Act, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Trump's got us the return of Hulk Hogan. I really can't think of another way to introduce this clip.
When I look out and I see all the real Americans, I think about how Donald Trump, his family was compromised. When I look out there and I see Donald Trump, I think about how his business was compromised. But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
I can't believe, but I'm about ready to say this, but One thing I want to disagree with Hulk Hogan about is the fact that, it was a Republican, a registered Republican, who stole his MAGA parents' guns, who took a shot at him. Like it wasn't anybody on the outside.
Right. But the one thing you have to give Hulk Hogan, that's one of the best Rocky impersonations I've heard in a while. I mean,
it was like WWE but drunker. I was like half waiting for somebody to just hurl lung butter all over this.
He committed to it. But
yeah, you don't want to half-ass it. Just go for the bit. Right. Go all the way.
Exactly. So you're a comedian. Commit to the bit. Damn it.
Well, and part of the reason why we're here in the first place is because Donald Trump admired what Jesse Ventura did in Minnesota.
Right.
When Jesse Ventura ran and was successful the first time, not the second. And Trump actually stopped by the campaign. And so he's always been about the showmanship. And I'm a big fan of wrestling. I've been watching wrestling. I don't necessarily watch the stuff recently, but when I was a kid, I always watched like the WWA and all that stuff. But it's just disappointing because it's like, come on, man. Like, you're the Hulk. Go lift some weights. No one cares what you think, honey. Like, we saw your sex tape. It was bad. Like, just go away. Just take your millions and go away. Like, have some shame, please.
They don't. Don't. If they had shame,
they wouldn't be wrestlers, right? That's it.
It's definitely
shame. Just it's like oil and water. It doesn't mix.
He definitely has that white boy using the N-word energy about him.
Well, he got in trouble for the N-word.
He did, yes. It was recorded before you get in my DMs about that comment. He was on tape using the N-word.
I was just wondering why we didn't get to choose to bring out like a wrestler. I want to see like Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and like, get in the ring. Maybe we could battle it out in the ring and have a cage fight. I don't know.
The problem is I think most of these wrestlers are crazy, conservative loonies.
Well, then let's stoop to
They're in the right venue. I mean,
yeah. I think Stone Cold, doesn't he have a biblical reference that they hold up?
Yep.
At his wrestling matches. I don't know where we're going to get him. We're going to have to maybe some of that Little John money.
That's it.
In conclusion, this past 4th of July, Alan Ray McGraw, a father from Somerville, South Carolina, died after attempting to shoot fireworks out of his Uncle Sam hat while draped in a suit designed like the American flag. If only there was a sign as to the direction this country is going. Why do I bring this up? In a way, we are all destined to be Alan Ray McGraw, dancing ourselves away into oblivion, either by being blown up by a firework or having our insides consumed by wild animals in the Roman Colosseum-style death matches set up under the Project 2041 initiative under the eternal presidency of the cryogenically frozen head of Donald Trump, with the only memorial to our existence being a viral video on Reddit. God bless America. And on that note, that's our show. I want to thank Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Joshua Postel, and Tiffany Norton.
Yay! Hey.
This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Joshua Postel, and Tiffany Norton. Theme music composed and arranged by Jeroen Vandenhoek. Executive producers Tom Myers, Matt Connarton for ipmNation, and Eddie Carson for Odyssey Radio. Please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Tom Myers, for ad-free episodes, extended episodes, and bonus clips. Thank you for listening, and please visit tommyers.us.